Can we have Florida next? Well, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, right here we have our topographic map. So, we need to find the one that will work fine. It can't have too much detail, and just like last time, we're going to be using this map right here. This map, it pretty much only shows elevation and water. That is exactly what we're wanting. And it also includes those little tiny islands off on the bottom of Florida. So we go ahead and throw that into our PNG color changer, and we get to work. We go ahead quickly change all that water into a nice black. The reason why we're doing this again is so that our water is nice and clear whenever we get into the actual world making. So we go ahead and download it, and after downloading it, we get it named. That way we can get it over into Krita. Now that we have done that, we're going to speed this up a bit. We go ahead, open it up, and we get to changing those colors pretty quick. We get everything that was transparent changed over. That way it's just a little more clear whenever we make it into a bitmap. And then we go ahead and fix these islands because they end up getting messed up a bit whenever we did the color change earlier. Which it isn't too hard to do. We just get out the brush and the bucket tool, and we just quickly fill them in to the best of our abilities. And you don't have to be too accurate because it is going to compress down quite a bit later on. So as long as we get the main actual outline done, it should be good to go. Okay. After doing that, then we are able to turn it grayscale and move on to our next step, with this being pretty much done and out of the way. We just name it for a bit, and we get over into our reducing and conversions. So we go ahead, reduce it down to a size that Dwarf Fortress is able to read, which the highest that it can do is 257. I always suggest doing 257 unless you're doing some weird offshoot size, but generally you want to do 257 by 257. Then we go ahead, do PNG to BMP, so we're just converting it into a bitmap, and then moving over to Perfect World DF. So now we're going ahead and just quickly making sure that the ocean is where it's supposed to be and that we have a nice tree line. We don't want it to be just a bunch of mountains, because that wouldn't make any sense for Florida. Okay, after messing this around with it a bit, we go ahead and generate a turbulence field and a noise field, and this is going ahead and it's going to make sure that we have this is not just one big old marsh swampland. There's going to be a mixing of some grasslands in there. It's going to show difference in elevation, and overall it's just going to make the map more detailed. Moving over to rainfall, we're just going to pull up the wind direction map like we did last time, specifically the prevailing winds. By doing that, we're able to find out where the winds are mostly traveling. And that way we get an accurate area of where the deserts, grasslands, and forests are supposed to be. As this is going to be Florida, we're pretty much removing all the desert and pretty much going with mostly forest. Now to go ahead and get our temperature map in, we're just going to quickly place a radial point up in the top and pretty much remove all of the temperate and cold areas, because this is Florida. It is going to be hot as balls, and it's going to be incredibly scorching. So we're going ahead and just making sure it is as hot as possible. Okay, After going ahead and messing around a bit, we move on to the drainage map. We're going ahead and setting most of it to swamplands with a few grassy rocky areas with hills. After doing so, we can easily move on to volcanism. This is where our volcanoes and our igneous rock is going to be. Because the only mountainous area is up in the north, we're going to be setting most of it to below 0 with some extrusive igneous with a lot of volcanoes in that upper area, just so we get a nice mountain range. Finally, we move on to savagery. Because this is Florida, we need those swamp gators. We're going to be adding a lot of savagery with pretty much no benign areas anywhere on the map, with some neutral on the outskirts. But the majority of Florida is going to be very savage, very harsh. Now we go ahead, move over to our biomap just to make sure everything is looking good. And if it doesn't, we'll go back and change. But from this small look, everything looks to be good. So we're going to go ahead, save everything, and move on over to the actual game. So I'm going to go ahead and save the file, just so we can come back and edit it if anything is out of place. And we're also going to export the world map as a so we can actually switch it over. Okay, now that we have it exported, we're going to go ahead, go in, grab our files, and put them into our world gen just by quickly Control-A, Control-C, and then going all the way up and adding it to the top right above Louisiana. And now we can get right into the game and figure out if we have a working map or if we have total garbage, which I am quite happy with the results, and I hope you will be too. So we go ahead, get right in, change some of the settings just so it works better, and right off the bat, we are hitting a bunch of rejections. And it's looking like it's mostly related to the cave settings. So I go back, change some of the cave settings, still having issues. Finally see that it is related to the civilization, so I lower the amount of civilizations that are being placed down, and I also lower the amount of caves being placed. And after a little bit of editing around, we finally have a working map. And here is our final results. I am overall very satisfied with how this is, and I hope you are too. I'll be going ahead posting the map in the description, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Peace.